Maybe the reason you feel stuck right now is not because you are failing. Maybe it is because you are growing, and growth is often quiet, uncomfortable, and misunderstood. Welcome to Success Mind. There are days when you feel like you are trying your best, yet nothing seems to move. Days when you wake up with hope, but the world feels heavy on your shoulders. You question yourself. You question your effort. You question whether you are doing enough, or whether you are simply wasting time chasing a dream that refuses to move closer. Have you ever felt that way? Like you are walking through fog, like you are moving, but you cannot see the road ahead. You try to improve. You try to stay positive. But sometimes the doubt whispers louder than your courage. And the truth is, almost everyone who eventually succeeds has walked through that fog. They have faced moments where progress felt invisible, moments where effort felt pointless, moments where they wondered if they were simply not good enough. But what if the problem is not that you are failing? What if the problem is that you are expecting perfection before understanding? What if growth does not begin with perfection? What if it begins with permission? Permission to learn. Permission to be imperfect. Permission to try before you fully understand. Because sometimes the most powerful transformation begins with one simple realization. You are allowed to grow at your own pace. Imagine a different version of yourself. Not perfect, not flawless, but calm, confident, patient with your own progress. Imagine waking up in the morning without the heavy pressure of needing to be perfect today. Imagine focusing on one step, one lesson, one improvement. Imagine looking back at your past mistakes not with shame, but with gratitude. Because each mistake taught you something new. Each failure revealed a lesson you could not see before. Picture yourself becoming wiser every single day. Not because life suddenly became easy, but because you learned how to learn. Think about that for a moment. What if every mistake you made was actually part of your education? What if every failure was simply a lesson in disguise? What if every setback was preparing you for a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more compassionate? Because growth rarely looks dramatic from the inside. It feels slow. It feels uncertain. It feels like small steps in a long journey. But those small steps, repeated every day, quietly change everything. And one day you wake up and realize something surprising. The person you used to be no longer exists. You have grown. There is a powerful truth spoken by the incredible writer and thinker Maya Angelou. She once said something simple, yet deeply profound. Do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better. Let that sink in for a moment. Do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better. This quote is not about perfection. It is about growth. It is about compassion toward yourself, while still holding yourself accountable to grow. Think about how often people punish themselves for not knowing something earlier. How many times have you looked back at a past decision and said, I should have known better? But how could you know better if you had not learned the lesson yet? Life is not a test you are supposed to pass on the first attempt. Life is a classroom. Every day is a lesson. Every challenge is a teacher. Every mistake is a message. When you did not know something in the past, you did the best you could with the awareness you had. That version of you was learning. That version of you was trying. That version of you was doing what it could. But growth happens when awareness expands. And once you see a lesson clearly, something inside you changes. You cannot unsee it. You cannot return to ignorance. Now, the responsibility is different. Now you know better. And when you know better, you do better. This idea is powerful because it removes shame. But it keeps responsibility. It tells you that your past mistakes do not define you. But your willingness to grow does. Let me ask you something. Is there something in your life right now that you understand differently than you did 5 years ago? Maybe it is how you treat people. Maybe it is how you treat yourself. Maybe it is how you spend your time, your energy, your attention. 5 years ago, you might not have understood the importance of discipline, or patience, or emotional maturity. But today, you know more. Today, you see things differently. And that means today, you have the opportunity to do better. Growth is not about erasing your past. Growth is about learning from it. Think about a seed in the soil. When it first enters the earth, it does not know what it will become. It is small, fragile, hidden beneath the surface. But slowly, it absorbs water. It absorbs sunlight. It grows quietly underground before anyone sees it. Your growth is the same. You are absorbing lessons every day, sometimes through success, often through struggle. But both are shaping you. If this message is speaking to you right now, if you are someone who believes in learning, growing, and becoming stronger every day, consider subscribing to this channel and joining this journey. Because every video here is meant to remind you that growth is always possible, and you do not have to walk this path alone. Now, let us return to that powerful idea. Do the best you can until you know better. This means your current effort matters, even if it is not perfect, even if you are still learning. Progress is not built by perfect people. It is built by people who keep improving. Then, when you know better, do better. This is where responsibility begins. It means that once you understand a lesson, you apply it. Once you see the truth, you live it. If you learn the importance of kindness, you practice kindness. If you learn the value of discipline, you practice discipline. If you realize that fear has been holding you back, you start facing fear step by step. Growth is not just knowledge. Growth is applied knowledge. And every day you wake up, life gives you a new opportunity to practice patience, to practice courage, to practice honesty, to practice becoming the person you want to be. No one becomes extraordinary overnight. They become extraordinary by improving a little bit every day. So if you are listening right now and thinking about your past mistakes, take a deep breath. You were learning. You were growing. You were doing the best you could with what you knew. But now you know more. And that means something powerful. Now you can do better. Not perfectly, not instantly, but intentionally. Every day you have a choice. You can stay stuck in guilt about yesterday, or you can use yesterday as wisdom for today. Growth does not require perfection. Growth requires honesty, awareness, and the courage to change. Remember this, the goal of life is not to never make mistakes. The goal of life is to become wiser because of them. And every lesson you learn is a step toward the person you are becoming. So keep learning, keep improving, keep becoming. And if this message helped you see your journey in a new light, subscribe and continue this journey with us. Because the path of growth never ends, And together we can keep reminding each other to do better every single day. Your future self is waiting for you. And every lesson you learn today brings you one step closer to becoming that person.